Want to know how to improve your relationship with the most important person in your life? Stick around because that's today's Simple Step to Thrive. Welcome to the Simple Steps to Thrive podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Acker. I am an artist, a writer, I'm a wife, a mom, a business owner. I'm a Revelation Wellness instructor, and I'm a founding member of the Declare Conference team. Those are all good things, but even good things can leave us burned out and exhausted. I know what it's like to wear too many hats. And I don't know about you, but I am done being overwhelmed and weary. Just done. So, this podcast, Simple Steps to Thrive. I'm going to teach you everything I've learned about turning my life around. We're going to go from burned out and exhausted to learning to thrive. Each episode, you'll get practical and easy to implement simple steps to thrive. Are you ready to turn your life around? Are you ready to overcome? One simple step at a time. Well, hello there. Welcome back to the Simple Steps to Thrive podcast. It's season 2. Can you believe it? I am so excited to be back with you, and I have some great things planned for you this season. Today, we've got a great episode, and next week, we've got a great episode. And I want you to know that this is not just my podcast. This is your podcast too. So I would need you to tell me what you need help with. I want you to make this your own. I need you to reach out, DM me, send me an email, message me on Voxer. Let me know what problems you have that you want solved with a simple step to thrive. And we'll tackle those together this season. So let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about improving your relationship with the one most important person in your life. And I think that person might surprise you because that person is you. Now, I'm not talking in a selfish, narcissistic way like you're the center of the universe, but you are the most important person in your life because if you're not taking care of you and if you're not living in integrity with your own values, then the way that you can serve and love the people that matter to you most is affected, negatively affected. This relationship you have with yourself is the most important because if you don't love yourself and trust yourself, it's going to overflow onto everyone else that you love. So today specifically, we're going to talk about keeping your promises to yourself. That's today's simple step to thrive. Now that sounds really simple, like way too easy simple, and it's really harder than you would think. Or maybe not. Maybe you realize how hard it is that you don't keep your promises to yourself. Maybe you tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym this week. I'm going to go to the gym every day this week, and I'm going to get my workout on, and I'm going to take care of my health, and I'm going to feel good. And then the first thing you do tomorrow morning is not go to the gym because you don't feel like it, or because you're tired, or because your kid was up throwing up all night, or something happens at work and you have a crisis you have to solve. There's always 1,000 excuses why we could not keep our word to ourselves, why we go back on that, and it seems like it doesn't really matter. But here's why it does. And I have to give credit to Jon Acuff here because this is from his book, Finish, which I highly recommend. Jon Acuff says, when you make a promise to yourself and when you break that promise to yourself, you've lied to the person you spend the most time with, and that's you. So when you don't keep your word to yourself, you have lied to the person you spend the most time with, and that's you. And he goes on to say, if you break enough promises, you start to doubt yourself. On page 14 of his book, Finish, he says, why do so many people quit their New Year's resolutions? Because they quit last year and the year before and the year before that. If you quit enough times, quitting is no longer a possibility when you start a new goal. It's your identity, and that feels terrible. Isn't he right? So today's simple step to thrive is just this. Keep your promises to yourself. And that sounds easy, like I said earlier, but it's not as easy as you would think. So 2 bits of advice that I have here. 1, make sure that when you promise yourself something, it's actually something that you can complete. I think a lot of times we set these lofty goals and load our to-do lists with 1,000 things, and there's no possible way that we could ever actually get all that done, even though we tell ourselves we can, okay? If it's your to-do list, go back to what we talked about in season 1 with the rule of 3. I put 3 big things on my to-do list, and that's it. I promise myself I'm going to get those 3 done for that day, but I make sure that if I tell myself I'm going to have it done, then I follow through and do it. The second way to help keep your word to yourself is to write it down. Did you know you're more likely to follow through on a goal just by writing it down? I can't remember what the percentage is. It's something crazy, like 37% or 47%. You have a better chance of finishing that goal just because you wrote it down. Just by writing something down, why would you not do that? So it doesn't matter what the thing is that you're promising yourself. Write it down. Even if it feels silly, write it down. It will help you to have better follow through with yourself and keep your word to yourself. So this week, go out and work on recognizing when you're making a promise to yourself. Be aware of it, write it down, and make sure it's something that you can actually commit to achieving. All right, have a great weekend. Bye, y'all. Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast today. If you're new around here, did you know that every episode comes with a free tool you can download and use to help you apply today's simple step to your own life and make things better? We call them podcast perks. Click the link in the show notes and download yours today. This episode has been brought to you by Numbers 30, verse 2. This is what God commands. When a man makes a vow to God or binds himself by an oath to do something, he must not break his word. He must do exactly what he has said. Thanks for listening.